Well, happy Friday, Storm fans. Thanks very much for hopping on. We have got another great interview today with a name a lot of you have been excited about. It is a former Mallard player who lives in the Quad Cities. His name is hanging behind me in the Tax Slayer Center. Kerry Toporowski is with us. Kerry, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
We're going to talk a lot of Quad City hockey, Mallards, and otherwise, but I did have a question. Dating back a little earlier in your playing career, especially because I know both Jake and Luke have played there, but coming out of Saskatchewan, you did also play with the Spokane Chiefs. And I didn't know if that was fairly standard for scouts to pull players down from where you were from originally, or if there was another connection there. How exactly did you end up in Spokane?
I was scouted in from my hometown in Saskatchewan. Most of the players in Spokane and in the WHL are Canadian hockey players. So the teams in Spokane, Seattle, Portland, the majority of those players are Canadian hockey players from the western provinces of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, well, and then I guess fast forwarding a little bit, eighth season in professional hockey, ended up with the Mallards. And I know a lot of our hardcore fans probably know this, but I saw during the first season you came here, you also spent some time with the Birmingham Bulls, who at the time were the ECHL, and the Portland Pirates in the AHL. What was the order of those that ended up bringing you here to the Mallards that season?
I started out and actually to go back, it was 12 years professionally. I had a previous stints in the American Hockey League and then the old International Hockey League. But back to your question, I started out in the East Coast Hockey League, and then Howard Cornfield called me just after Christmas in December and brought me up to the Quad Cities. And while I was in the Quad Cities, I was called up to Portland and played a few games in Portland in the American Hockey League there.
Okay, and you had already had some stops before when you were in the Quad Cities. What was that like? I mean, that was really at the peak of the excitement for hockey. Was it pretty unique compared to the places you had played before, just with the passion that was here?
Definitely. The Chicago Wolves, I played there for a season, and they have a great fan base. Played in Las Vegas. They also had a great fan base with large crowds, but it was totally different than playing here in the Quad Cities. I never got to really know the fans in Chicago or Las Vegas. You always get to know a couple of them, but here in Quad Cities, you became so close to so many fans, and they become like family.
And when you think back, I know you mentioned the fans, which is something we've heard. I know we've gotten to talk to Sergei Zavagin and Mike McFarland. They both mentioned that it really was like a family. What are some of the other things that you really remember? Of course, you were not just here for the first season you got here, but you won another championship down the road. When you think of kind of those glory days of the Mallards, what are the things that really come to mind?
The fans definitely the number one thing. The closeness of the team, right from ownership down to coaches and the training staff to the players. Everybody was a family. Everybody looked out for each other. The fans looked out for the players when you went out on the town, whether it was restaurant or shopping. You're always recognized, and restaurant owners looked after us. So it was definitely fun playing here, and we were looked after.
You mentioned the closeness of the team. When we've had this kind of 25th anniversary celebration we've been doing, the fans have gotten to vote on, a lot of the most popular players, yourself, a lot of the other names hanging in the rafters. Who are a few players you remember as being, key role players, guys who might not have been the most popular, but were, maybe great teammates or big contributors to the success that you all had?
Well, that's one of the reasons the Mallards are so successful. Everybody was a key member. Every if you look at the forward group that we had on the championship teams, really everybody was a scorer at some point in their career, and everybody just came and played their role. They bought into the system the coaches had for us, and everybody was a key member. There wasn't one or two players that I'd say helped win the championship. It was everybody.
All right. I was interested to get your opinion on this kind of, I guess, a general hockey question. Your role a lot of times was protecting the players on the ice. You were an enforcer, you took care of business. And in today's hockey, we are seeing that be eliminated. Still certainly players who fill that role and take that responsibility on. As you see that kind of becoming less displayed, less prevalent, maybe less players sticking up for their teammates, how do you think that's affecting the game? And do you think that's something that will ultimately always stay and always be important?
I definitely think it's an important part of the game. I also think it's a good thing that the way the game's moving, there's a lot more skill in the game now. The game is a lot faster. Back when I played for the Mallards, intimidation was a big factor in winning hockey games, and the tough teams. We definitely had a tough team with the guys that we had on the team. We had Freddie Joban, McFarland, Goulash. We can go on and on the guys that played had a physical presence on the team, and that was a key factor in the championships. But as the years have gone on, like you said, the role of the enforcer has kind of gone by the wayside, and it's become a more skill game. There's still the fights, and they're still going to happen because they happen in the heat of the moment. I don't think it's going to go away. I think it'll always be a part of the game.
I agree with you, and I think that's a good thing as well. You are unique in that not only did you come here and play, professional hockey in the Quad Cities, but you ended up staying here in the Quad Cities. And I know your family is very involved in hockey here. Of course, Jake being assistant coach of the team. I think, since I have gotten here, I have not near the experience of you, but some experience growing up playing hockey. It seems to me like the potential for hockey from top to bottom, youth hockey up through the Storm, growing and becoming more popular, that there is just an incredible amount of potential right now. Do you see that as being the case?
For sure. As you said, the family's involved with the Storm as well as with the youth hockey program, the Quad City Ice Eagles, and we're seeing the numbers in the new hockey players rapidly increasing with the Ice Eagles down at River's Edge. We're needing another sheet of ice, whether that's at the River's Edge or the Tax Slayer. So we see the numbers increasing, and hopefully we can get the fans coming back like they were back in the 90s when I played in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I certainly hope so too. And I think that the Storm is going to be much more involved with the Ice Eagles and all of youth hockey in the upcoming season. So certainly look forward to that. And another way that hockey's gotten a little bit closer, I know you're still always able to watch when Luke's been playing out in Spokane, but having him a little bit closer in Sioux Falls, that has to be enjoyable to get out and see him play a little easier.
Yeah, it definitely worked out for our family. We've been able to go out and watch games on the weekend, and if they're weekday games, we still get to watch them on Hockey TV site. So definitely a treat to be able to go on the weekend games to watch them, whether it's Des Moines, Sioux Falls, or Waterloo is coming up too.